And good morning, everybody. Friday morning at 8 o'clock East Coast time, and it's going to be about an hour and a half today. We'll shut it down about 9:30. And before we get started, let me go through the disclaimers. The trading the Forex on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to invest in foreign exchange, you should carefully consider your investment objective, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with the foreign exchange trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any questions or doubts. This is a live trading room. We'll go over some, and this is for educational purposes only. No financial advice will be given or the recommendations will be provided. Any trades taken during the live session is not a recommendation or suggestion that you should do the same. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and do not trade money you cannot afford to lose. Before trading live, always operate with a written trade plan that identifies rules for entries, exits, targets, and risk management. And having said that, now we got that out of the way, we will go ahead and get started. If you have any questions, put them in the question and answer section. We'll be more apt to see them in that area more so than the chat box. And let me get started here with the charts. Share screen, and we're going to share charts. And I've got the US yen all set up to do a replay. It's pretty much already out of the chute, but we'll go through that one and see how we got into that. I did take that one earlier, and I'm already out of it, so I'm pretty much done with my 2% for the day, but we'll see if there's some other opportunities that present itself. Let me see, hang on, let me get the rest of my charts set up here so you can see see who all we have here today. And let's get started. So right now we had an alert at, it was at 7:15 this morning, that's East Coast time, the US yen. And I took that and we got that set up. This is I'm gonna do the replay on this one. It was a really nice trade. It happened, got in, got out real quick. But here was where the alert was. It was an ascending wedge. So I took my wedge, started for the previous pivot low, went to the next pivot high, looked for a three hits on a trend line. So I was able to put my B pretty much right in this area because we had three nice hits, and we had took this D over as close to the trend as the alert was we can. And then I looked back while I was over here. I looked back to see where the next previous wick was. So if it does break out of the wedge at the top, where is my next potential target going to be? And that'd be up in this area. So if we did break out of the top, that would be, we only would have gotten potential target on this one would have been about, you could have gotten your 7 pips, almost your 7 pips to the upside. And then let me take this off here. Let me remove that. And so here's my wedge. I put my 2% line on here. I want to keep this on I'll see if I can put this on a 5-minute chart. Oh, there we go. We did. Never quite sure if it's going to come back up on the time frame I want to take it up. I'm going to tweak these things a little bit closer. I have pretty much of a flat line at the top and have a nice trend on the bottom. I'll tuck my A in over here a little bit closer. And then here's my 2 pip line from the trend. Now, one thing I did this morning, which I thought would be an interesting thing to look at, is I'm looking at the C for a potential target once it breaks the wedge. Well, in order to get our 7 pips from the C, I had to measure up and see where would a break be on the trend line that would give me my 7 pips. And so I don't have to get in all. So I'm looking at if somewhere around 737 time frame, where if it would have broken here and I could have gotten in at this point, I could have got my 7 pips a here. So that's just a reference to see what's the likelihood of, if it stalls right around this area, to be able to still be able to maintain a little bit of a profit, even though it gives some gauge of where that 7 pips is going to be. And then over here, I have where my A is. This would be the next. So once it breaks here, this is going to be the next area that we'll be looking at where it could be a problem. Actually, if you take it down from the C, look over here to the left, come down, you can see this is a nice blue candle. So there's some area right in this area to be looking at for another possible area where it may stall and just stop. So I'll just mark this right here. So this is a possibility. So if it can break that, then this would be the next stop over here. So let's go and we'll run this through, candle by candle. And here was the alert. We're still inside the wedge. And there is the first break of the wedge. Now the question is, it didn't quite close at that point. That was a nice little close. We had the wick. See, now we're still within our two. Now it'd be tempting to take this right with as it is right now. If I look at I'm looking over here at the JPY USD. It's still looking good as far as a short goes. My RSIs are coming out of the 60-40 range. I have 3 green bars on my whole moving average, and it broke the wedge. So remember I said before, way back a few days ago or a couple of weeks ago, I said I like to see a red candle followed by a blue candle and then another break. So right now I'm going to reference this wick of this red candle, see if we can get a blue candle to come up and then followed by another red candle. There's our blue candle. This is still my reference. So what I'm still looking at doing is I don't want to enter on a blue candle. But you also see where it's coming up to test the wedge. So we have to wait for one more candle. It went straight. There wasn't even a red wick on that. Went straight on up. It broke the wedge. Now it's back into the wedge again. Now I'm looking to see where is a likely place for it to bounce off of. So if I come up here and I find the first candle with a wick, that's going to be and then move over to where the red candle is. But this is really the first significant wick we had. So I'm just going to mark this as a reference point. And I'm going to take this as a potential stop zone. And I'm going to see what the distance is between the bottom of this. It's this 33 to 37. This is a 5. So if it comes up here, that's 5 pips. And so that would be, if you end up getting in down here, that's going to be your 5 pip stop. And we'll see where that takes us from that. There is our red candle. Now what I'm doing now, I'm looking to see if I can bring this thing up to here. Maybe even to here, because now I have a higher high. And we'll see if this thing will come back in and break the wedge again. Now this is a little doji, which is a significant pattern. It's basically where the buyers and sellers were in equilibrium. And they ended up at the same price point. There's our red candle. But now we're still on top of the wedge. So we'll start the process pretty much all over again. But now we know that this area up here was still valid. So I'm going to draw another little line here on the top of this wick. And this will be a stop zone for me. Now right back into, and now I'm looking to see if it can break this candle right here. Now back to another rejection of the wedge. And now we have a close below here, and this is where I entered, right about in this area. Because we got the close below this blue candle. It closed. It's still inside my zone, and I'm in this trade. And my fill was actually down right about here at 33.7. So this is where it's actually filled. We'll put our targets up. And go for my 7 pips. Here's my target. And you can see I didn't get in as close to where my 7 pips to get to this point. So you can see where I'm going to have to be. I may not get my full 7 pips at this level, because it has to get through the C area before it's going to be able to break through that. And the question is, how strong is this area? We're not really sure. But we do know that we have a zone down here that's below our 7 pips as a potential target area. And so we go and we run it through. We're in the trade. I'll put my moving averages up so you can see where the moving averages are. And you see all the moving averages are in the right direction. We have our 62, our 13, and our 5. We're in the trade. This is our 7 pip target down here. And we'll see where we go. We're just looking for it. There's a nice big drop. And you see it's testing this area right here over where the C is. Now we just broke the C, but we didn't close below it. So here's the point. Now you have to make a decision. Is it going to respect this and break through, or is it going to come back and retest it here? Right? At this point, you probably have about 5 pips into this trade. Now the question, do you want to go for the full 7, or you want to stop with 5? You get just a little bit over 5. And that's where you make a choice of how much do you want to go for. If you had 2 positions, you could take 1 position off here and then let the other one run, hoping you can get to your 7. There's a break, it still didn't quite close below. There's a close below. So right now, you can move your stop all the way, you can move your stop zone all the way down to, I already had it down there already, right to this candle right here, because now we have a lower high, a lower low, a lower low, and lower high. If it comes break, if you're going for these full 7, if it comes back here, you may want to be getting out because that would be breaching this stop area. You're still good. There's a blue candle, so that's a little bit of a concern. And boom, there's your 7 pips. And now you're into this other zone right here. Let me move this out a little bit closer. C24.3. Move this over here to right about there, and see if it's what it does with the rest of this. Now it's coming back out of this area. Now you're starting to see it get a little bit of reversal. You can be looking, if you're trying to trail this, you can be following this 13 moving average. I'm trying to grab this. And you're just doing your price action analysis where you're just trying to track it, looking for the lower highs, lower lows, and the lower close. So keep that. Right now, this is an area where it's sort of basing. Right now, you don't know which way it's going to go. Now just breach the 13 moving average, but didn't close above it. You may want to just be exiting your trade at this point if you're still in it, or you may want to say, well, I'll just see if I can get through this area. You're still, so if you were willing to take this as a pullback, and this is where you start playing, where you start trying to see if you can get for those bigger pips, or you just take your 7 pips and be going. And that's the end of that trade. Any questions about that?
Got a question in the chat there, Al.
Okay, Matt.
It's about, can you explain the difference between convergence and divergence? That's
I will try.
Interesting one. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Okay, if you have, okay, this one actually has some divergence on here. If you have a low, so we're looking at this little area right here. Let me see if I can draw a little. If you're looking at this little area right in here, you see that this has, let me just get this out of the way so you can see it a little bit better. If you look at the RSI and you see where the RSI is low and here's your low. So this is where the price low corresponds with the low on the RSI. Now you see where you have a price lower low than this one, but you see how the RSI is sloping up on this. So you have, if here's where the low is, and you see where it's sort of trending. This one's, the RSI is getting less weak, but the price is getting lower. This would be a divergence. That's usually one I usually look for. I look to see where where you have the price goes down, but the RSI goes up. That's where you have where if you look at these two, they're going to connect. That's what we call the divergence. And that usually shows where there's a turnaround right here, where the price can go lower, but the RSI, and basically that's where it starts to, that's a key area to get out because that usually means it's going to go up higher. Convergence, I don't know that I can give you the answer to that one. Matt, do you know that one?
Yeah, so sometimes we'll use the term convergence, um, and it really originates from some technology that we use outside that we don't really talk about a lot, and sometimes we bring that word into our vocabulary. A convergence is when multiple things come together at one time, and um, it's when price likes to move in waves and cycles, so it goes up and down and up and down. So basically, when there's multiple time frames that I'm just going to cause it's going to be too confusing. I don't want to get into that actually. Just just know that it's multiple things coming in at one time, and then potentially there's either a reversal, an impulsive move out of there. But we won't talk about that because it's not something
Let's see
that
if I can
will
help you
benefit you
here a
too
little.
much.
I'll see if I can help you a little bit. If you look at these
Oh, there you
RSIs,
go. That's
if you
good.
look at
I
the
like that.
RSIs, you have both of these RSI timeframes, because they're all different timeframes, are all converging here at the same point. That would be a convergence. And then usually when you have multiple timeframes, whether it's a price or it's a moving average, when they all converge, that's usually a turning point as well. That's about the best way I could explain the convergence part of it.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You did a great job on that one. So we do have an alert, Al.
Oh, we
We
do.
we got an alert. Yeah, yeah. I
Let's
saw it a
take a
little
look at
earlier, and Mariska pointed it
our
out.
favorite one, a US CAD. Here we go.
Oh,
US
Lord.
CAD ascending at 8:15. So here we go. We're going to get that up, get up and
Let's
running.
go see. Let's go take a look.
See if we can get this gets my demo platform loaded up here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have US CAD. We're going to go on the 15-minute chart. We're going to start with the clean chart. We're going to take all this stuff off, and we're going to just start clean here. Start on our 15-minute chart. 8:15, ascending, I believe it was. 8:15, ascending. Let me move this over here. So this is my active one. And I'm going to change this. I'm just move this over, well, let me get to this here. I want the yellow one here because that's where it was. My wedge alert. Ascending. So basically we're looking at it's going from low to high. So it's going from down here on up. And if we look at the overall waves of this, you can see it's actually coming, the main wave is coming down and this one's sort of like retracing back up. So and it's ascending. So we're going to be looking at this bottom, a couple of different bottoms here. Here's going to be a significant bottom. Here's a significant one. Here's a significant one. So we're going to go, I'm going to start here at this one, see where this one takes us. Ascending. Tuck this in over here, bring this one up. So we have a upward pointing wedge. And actually the fact that the main trend was down, we're looking for this thing to break out the bottom. And we have a hit here, we have a hit here, and it's trying to hit right here. So we have a little bit of a breach of this one. I move this down as close as I can, go to my 1 minute chart, and try and find out where we can, how we can tweak this thing a little bit. I'll move my A over here a little bit, just a little bit, to make it as tight as I can to the exact point. Move my B over. There's our first hit of the trend. Here's our C area. And here's where the alert is, and the D looks pretty good right where it's at. So right now I'm looking at potential of, this might be a little area where it might have a little bit of trouble, and so I'm going to at least mark my A area. And if I'm looking at the other time frames, looking at the Canadian dollar is the strongest on all three. I'd like to see a 3-point spread here. I'm only getting one. I see 3 here, and I'm seeing only 2 here. So this was, I'm not going to be in a real big hurry to take this one because I like to see this, the Canadian dollar, get a little bit stronger on this. You can see where this thing is coming up close. Let's go to 5 minutes. We may be able to tuck this one up a little bit tighter here. That's probably a little bit better. And I can probably bring my A up. We'll keep that
Looks like it's testing the bottom of the wedge, eh?
yep, it's testing the bottom of the wedge. So here's a nice hit, here's a nice hit, here's a hit. We'll see if it breaks out of the bottom. And let's see, let's get on.
That's not a bad wedge for UCAD.
It's not. It's actually, this one might actually work out pretty well. I would like to see it get a little bit stronger. I'd like to see the CAD get a little bit stronger to the dollar before I take this trade, though. That's the only thing I don't like about it so far. Took that in right there. Looking for our 2-pip area. So I'm going to take it from here. Oops. Move it down 2 pips. 34.19.2 to 30.17.2, right about there. I'm going to lock this, and I'm going to give it a name. This is my entry zone to sell. And we're going to be watching this thing now. Now, we did mark where the A was, I believe, way down here. So it looks like we have lots of room to the initial target if it breaks. Yeah, lots of room on that one. So not a problem there. Let's see, see where the, let me move this one up a little bit. There's where my A is. Might have a little bit of a bounce over here, but let's just check that out. So we get in, we still have room. That's a nice little downward move. If it breaks this, there could be a lot of room to the downside. And now we watch. Now we wait and see what happens here. I'm going to be looking at all 3 time frames. I'm going to be watching these.
If you want to up your ads a little bit, or your odds, we can throw a little something on the charts. There's a really nice pitchfork that you can draw, just a couple, just 2 lows to the left.
2 lows to the left. This low.
Yeah, bigger. Like it's a 15-minute pitchfork.
Okay, so 2 lows. This one here.
Nope.
Or this one?
No, more.
More to the left?
Yeah. Oh, right there. Sorry. Hold on. I had it on the 5-minute. I'm just gonna make it look like the. let me see here. Setting. Just a sec. Sync to all charts. It would be so the top of the wedge of the pitchfork would be at like 850.
8:50 this morning.
In the morning, yeah.
Let me get a higher time frame here. 8:50. That would be.
Hold on. We're 8:50 on the 23rd.
On the
Not
23rd.
This morning. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. While this thing is developing, let's go back to that after this trade happens.
Perfect.
I'm afraid we're going to miss something in the time process of doing that.
No worries. We'll revisit that, and I'll show you what you can do with the pitchfork. It's really nice.
Maybe what you can do is get your chart set up, make it real expandable so people can see the candles. And then for this trade, maybe we can take a look at that and just see how they can maybe find some trends.
Absolutely.
Here's a little bit of we can run the 1 minute. Here's a little bit of a breach it came down. It's still respecting. There's got a lot of candles here. Now, here's one thing I've been looking at, and I think it's something worth noting, is that when you see a candle, the wicks, so just looking at the wicks, and I'm just going to look at this, watch the end of this here, and if you look and see where the wicks are, you see where every candle that you go to over here, you have a wick until you get to right about this spot. That's where I put the top of my sell zone. So this would be my sell zone. We're coming into the wedge. So this would be the next. I would want this to be the beginning of my sell stop or my stop zone. And then we'll see what kind of distance we have from the bottom. So we get in at the bottom. That's only 5 pips, so that's a nice little range. If we get into the trade, that would be our first area that we're looking at to get out. Now looking at the CAD, it's still strong. We're on the 1 minute. It's not strong by a lot, but it's still strong. CAD's picking up some momentum here, and we've got a little bit better spread there. I still like to see a 3-point spread at the break on the 15-minute. I will accept a 2-point as long as the 5-minute is significantly stronger, and the 1 minute both. So right now, the CAD, I would still be willing to take it short because the CAD is still strong. It's the second currency of the pair. That means when the CAD's strong, we're looking to go short. And I'll just keep on all 3 charts right now. Let me take this one off just to clean the 15-minute up so we can see a little bit better. Still, so far, we don't have confirmation of the trade. And see how this wick is still, this body is still being protected here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wick here. And as long as I can keep that wick below where this wick goes and hits the wall, think of this as hitting the wall. Okay, now that wall has been broken, and now we're coming up here to retest this. And over here, we see we have, this would be the top of that wick. We'll see if this little zone can hold. We're just using this for references. We're not in this trade yet. We're just using this for reference that as it pulls back, where's the most likely, if it pulls back against us, where's it most likely going to stall? And you would want to have your stop above that.
We got lots of action this morning. There's another alert.
Pretty big move right here on this one. Okay, so this one stalled right here. And it hit this. So right now I've got this area right here for my stop zone. What was that? What alert was that one? That was a US Swiss at 8:30. I'll try and take a look at that one if we can.
We will probably get a Euro USD coming up very soon, just because of the way it's looking. So there could be some action this morning. We've got a question about the indicators. I was talking to some Auvoria Prime leadership yesterday, so we're working something out where we can have that to everyone. It's just that some of them are a little more proprietary, and some of the programmers, we're trying to work out the details on that. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. You can trade this strategy without it and use whatever reversal indicator you like. You can actually take it without having like any indicators at all. The indicators actually just add some of your they add a further clarification or confirmation that you're taking it in the right direction. But we're basically just doing the regular price action, and that's why we're going down to the 1 minute so we can get the tightest entry possible, get our 7 pips, and then take off.
And you can, and basically, I mean, everything other than this RCS is all basic what you can put on your charts. So that's just part of most charting packages. It doesn't cost anything. We have some of these that we just sort of bunch them up a little bit together, make it a little bit easier. But there's not, the only one that's still different is the RCS. But even the RSI can give you a lot of the same indications that we get from the RCS tool. It's just nice things to have. And we look at this for a entry to possible entry. Let's see. See, I don't want to call this just make it a basic reference line here. Check and see what my spread is here. I got 19 to 23. That's only 4 pips. So that's a nice little range enough to keep your 7 pips out of harm's way. If we can get in down here. Now, if I look at this, if this thing starts going against me, and I'm looking to see where here's the wick, so I got to go up to the top of that. So that's going to be where my new zone's going to be. And that's only reference to if it comes back in, we get in the trade. This is just a way of looking to see how things are progressing. And if you look at it on a 5-minute chart, this top line here on the 5-minute chart is right here. So actually this thing could actually go on up a little bit higher. Gives you a little more room for the reference to a 5-minute higher time frame, gives you a little bit more room, also gives you a little bit more risk. So now it's at 27 to 19.2. So if we would end up using this as a stop, then we would have to be, and we'd want to keep within our 7 pips. We would want to be able to get in somewhere around in this area. Pretty much where it broke the first time. And this thing might just start reversing here. But right now it's still inside the wedge. You got all that room all the way up here. But right now there's nothing telling me that I want to take this trade in either direction right now. Now this was a nice strong, looking at this 5-minute, 5-minute candle. This nice strong candle down, tested the wedge. All these 5-minute candles were testing the wedge. It's got a nice, you're seeing it's actually forming a nice little wedge right in itself right here. See this green fib line is holding. So it came down, it passed, checked the wedge, came up, testing the green line. If the green line can hold and we can get, then we might have a nice move down towards this area down here. So while we're waiting here, if someone can keep an eye on, Matt, if you can keep an eye on that Euro US CAD, I'll take a look at the US Swiss.
Absolutely. I'll keep my eyes on Euro USD. Euro USD, oh my gosh, man. I don't know what's going on in my head. USD CAD. We'll see what's happening.
And so we had the alert over here on the US Swiss 830 ascending. Get my Swiss chart up. I'm over here on my 15-minute chart, ascending 830. We're going to move it all the way over here. Let's just take that one off. Get over to where we were. There we are. 830. Here's the wedge. 830 is right there. Make sure I'm on my 15-minute chart. 15, 5, and 1. It was ascending. So if I look and squeeze this down a little bit to see which direction this thing, the main move is, the main move's coming from up to, is descending. We have an ascending wedge is what we're looking for. And so I'm going to start. This is the bottom. This was the top. Ascending. So the C should be a little bit higher than the A, and then bring it up, tuck it up to the top up here. Here's my alert. Here's my wedge. I'm still focusing on the ascending. The fact is coming down. We're looking at a little bit of a pull back up. Got the wedge, and now I would probably favor break to the downside, but right now that's just a guess. Come over here to my 1-minute chart. Make this one a little bit, tweak all these little points on the 1 minute. Bring this over. Check my moving average, see which direction my moving averages are pointed. And they're all consolidated. They're real tight right here that's trying to decide whether it wants to break to the upside or break to the downside. So right now there's nothing there that we can hang our hat on. Move my A over here. I'm going to mark where my A is for range for the, if it does break out, that'll be the first area that I'll be looking at to try to, and that's almost the point where the C is. It's almost a flat line. Check and see where the next target would be on my A. If it breaks to the downside, get on a higher time frame so I can see where it is. It may be a long time before, well, the upside we're looking at, if it breaks the upside, we're looking at this area. And when it breaks to the downside, we're gonna have to get to a higher time frame to see where it is. And there's like no place over anywhere in the last several days. So if it breaks the downside, it could go for a long way. So that means it's either getting down to a low level point or it's gonna go significantly lower. We'll just have to wait and see. Go back to my 1-minute chart. And we're waiting to see, it's inside the wedge and we just have to wait and see what happens. Check all of our moving averages. What happened to my moving average on this? 15-minute. Somehow I had lost my moving. My moving averages are saying that looks like it wants to go short. All my moving averages on my higher time frame is in the direction to go short, 62, 13, 5, 62, 13, 5. They're all inside the wedge, so once this thing breaks, if it breaks to the downside, that should give us some nice stop areas for the 62s. This one's starting to break over here. We do have a nice little trend up here, and we're looking to see where this could possibly bounce. I think you're going to have a little bit of a problem. It may have a little bit of a stall right in this area. This is just a reference. But here's the bottom of the wedge.
USD CAD's coming to the bottom of the wedge.
Okay.
Looks like it could be. Let's see what happens here.
Let's see, we have, let me put it on all 3 time frames. CAD is still weak here. Still no real decisive direction on, or neither one is showing me anything. I would not want to take this trade. It may break and may go for 100 pips, but I don't like the entry on this one right now. Just because everything, the CAD and the US are fighting for last place is what they're doing. So neither one is showing any dominance over the other. So having said that, I'm going to go back to the US Swiss.
Sounds like a plan.
And so we look at the US Swiss 1 minute chart, showing that the Swiss is the second currency of the pair, which means we're looking for the strength of the Swiss to be to the short side. It's showing some, we got a nice little, getting 3-point spread here. And we have 3 here, and we have 2 here. So if this thing breaks, I'll be more apt to take this one to the downside. In the meantime, we need to get our zone set up. See where it's still not happy. It still doesn't want to break over here. I'll just move that up a little bit for a reference to see if it breaks. Again, there's still nothing going on in here yet. And if it breaks the C, it's going to, the A is right below it, so I'm not even going to worry about this line right here for right now. And we're going to draw the parallel, our 2-pip parallel area. And that's at 92.38, going to go 92.36. And this is going to be our zone reference to enter zone to sell. I'm going to lock this. This gives us our 2-pip range that we're looking at. I'm going to lock that. And we're going to do the same thing to the upside while we're here. And that's at 92.51.7, so 53.7 we're going to look for. Close enough. I'm going to lock it. Give it a name. Enter zone to buy. We have our zones all set, and now we're just waiting to see what happens here. And so while we're waiting, let's go ahead and give a alert on this one. And we'll put an alert on, let's just put one on right about in here, because if this one breaks, it's going to be breaking the top of the wedge.
Got a great question from someone here. It says, does it follow? So if it's ascending, let's put it this way. Just because it's ascending doesn't mean it's going to go to the top, and just because it's descending doesn't mean it's going to go to the bottom. It depends on where it is in the structure. the biggest thing that I see that I used to do, and it used to stop me out all the time, is, oh, ascending, I'm gonna put it for a buy, and descending, I'm gonna put it for a sell. There is a percentage chance that it's gonna go in that direction, but we don't have preconceived notions of, we don't set our brain up to say, okay, well, it's ascending, I'm gonna look for a higher probability that it breaks up to the top.
Hang on a second there, Matt. Just I'm
Go
going to
right
take
ahead.
this one in demo just because it's starting to break the bottom. We are starting to get a little bit of strength to the CAD. So we do have 3 points here. We have 3 points here, strength to the downside. We have our blue candle pullback. So I'm going to be looking at getting in pretty much right about in, if I can get in at 34.18. So I'm going to try to do a sell stop. I don't know if I can get 34.18. Let's see, 34.18. Let's try and get it right about in here. And right about where this dot, 34.18.6. That's close enough. I'll put a sell stop in. The CAD is showing a little bit more strength.
Yeah.
Actually, it's pulling back against it, but it's showing a little bit more strength, actually. So that's kind of a good sign.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and move this up a little bit closer here.
So I was just about to tell you.
It didn't like that one. It didn't like that.
Not at all.
Just because this, we have a spread, 2-point spread, 2-pip spread here. If it gets up a little bit higher, I may be able to tuck that in a little bit. CAD is starting to show a little bit more strength on the lower time frames, even though this thing is just basing in here. It's interesting. It's going against it. It's getting stronger. This is probably significant. Nope, doesn't like that one yet. There it goes. Move it up a little bit more. There's an alert, I think. Or was that a fill? Oh, it just got filled. Okay.
Yeah, that's your fill.
You see where the price is, and I just got filled right in here. And we're going to take profit. We're going to make it 7 pips. Stop loss, we're going to make it 7 pips. Modify it. Then we'll see what happens. Right now, I'm still looking at this area. I like to keep my stop. Well, this is a nice little stop zone up here, but if this thing breaks the top of the wedge, it could go all the way on up. But this is a nice little drop. It's basing. This could actually be a nice little trade here, actually. There's really not much to stop it. Now you look at the 15-minute chart. The next stop area is going to be right, pretty much down, right around in this area. So we're going to put this as target 1. If we, and that's a nice little drop. This is all pretty much clear sailing all the way down to this point. Right about into, right about there. Go back to my chart.
Yeah, so CAD is down. It's on the downside pretty hard now.
It's the, we got a nice spread here. This is a nice little move right here.
That's impressive. And I didn't take that trade, just so everyone's aware. But there is something interesting I will show you later on. Once we're all done, once we get a little slow time, I'll show you exactly why you might want to start adding pitchforks to your charts. And later on, we can
There's an
show you
alert
how
on
to
the
do some
US Swiss,
basics.
so we may have a US Swiss trade coming on. Let's slide this over so we can monitor both of them. There's an alert. Okay, and it looks like the Swiss is getting strong to the dollar. Everything seems to be getting strong to the dollar right now. And let's see, we're still waiting for this thing to, this was just an alert, so we can take this one off now. Get rid of that. That was an area where, so right now we have, this is an area where it bounced. So right now this would be the next areas. We'll be looking at the wedge now for the breakout. How's our CAD trade doing here?
It stalled out on the median of a lower time frame pitchfork that I drew. So it broke out. It sat at the bottom for a little bit. So it broke out for, looks like a pretty good move, probably 5-7 pips.
It's
And
probably going to come. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're fine. And we're going down again.
Yeah.
So
we'll be looking at this as being a possible target right here, this 3404 area.
I got 3411 as a really good target.
Which is right where our stop is, or right where our target is.
Yeah,
that's where 7 pips are, or 7 pip.
Yeah, there's a couple reasons for that. That's the median of my pitchfork that I drew on the 30-minute. There's also some other things going on, but I mean, that's 7 pips, right? You don't need no fancy indicators. When we say 7 pips is because we back tested it and we like 7 pips as a target. The first little bit, I was using 5 pips and it was frustrating because I wouldn't hit my targets because of spread or whatever else, and I missed it by like a pip or two.
Let's see where our fib line is over here. Let's see right here. That's the green fib line is right at our 7 pip target.
Yeah, it's almost like it knows exactly where that is. So that's a really good exit if you guys took it, right? It was a setup. I saw something that I wasn't really a fan of, so I didn't take it, but you know, everyone has a little.
Right now I'd be looking at my stop zone would be pretty much above this area right in here where I'd have to move my stop. If it comes back and breaks the wedge, I would want to be getting out by this area. That'd be a nice little retracement, but I think it's going to keep on going right now. Looking at the moving averages, nice spread on the moving average. This is pulling away from the 62, getting further and further away. And on the moving averages on the 5-minute, we still have the same situation where nice little break. We do have our 13 in our 5-minute is right inside where we entered this trade. And now it's coming to bounce off of our 30-minute, which is right in this area, right here. Right, I think I'm just going to move my stop up just a little bit higher just to make sure I don't give up. Because I think it's going to probably tag that. If it doesn't, then I'm going to be getting out sooner than that. I'll give up a couple tenths of a pip in order to ensure that I don't lose this part.
Let's see what happens here. Let's see how accurate this is, because we said 7 pips. Let's see. I don't know if I said 34.11 or whatever, but we'll see.
Still, everything's still strong for the favor of the CAD.
Yeah, the US dollar is now officially the weakest one of the weakest currencies on the Forex market right now. So any trade we would potentially look at, we would look to go in favor of the opposing currency and not in favor of the USD.
Yeah.
At least at this time. Doesn't mean it won't change quick. The market will open up, and if people say, hey, we can't lose as much value, then
See how it has
they'll
to
push
go through
price.
my target in order to get the spread, because we have 1 point spread. It has to go through that target by 1.7 spread pips in order to get that thing closed out.
Yep, and I'm at one of my targets right now, 34.11.
We have to be just about there.
34.12. And here we go.
One more little push, or it's not doing anything. I'm just going to close this one out.
There it is. Swiss is moving around, my friend.
Let's take a look at the Swiss starting to come down. And let's see where it is on our strength meter. Swiss is strong. We got 3. If it breaks through here, we're good. We're good to go.
Are we gonna take a quick break at 9 or 9:15 or what?
Oh, I've almost
What do you
forgot all
think?
about the time. Let's just go right on through since we have another setup coming here.
Okay, perfect.
We're only in it for an hour and a half, so I think we can hold out that long, especially while things are happening.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And USD CAD just bounced off that point that we were talking about, like to the pip off the bounce. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah.
7 pips and bounced. It's I don't know. It just makes me smile when that happens, because it happens way too often for it just to be a coincidence.
So right now, I'm looking at the Swiss. I'm looking to see. Right now, we're anticipating it to break to the downside. So we're going to be looking at where, if it does break to the downside, where we want to put our stops. Where's the most likely area where it's going to break to? And so right now we have a little drop, spacing here a little bit, coming right down with a strong move into the zone. Spread that out a little bit. I'll be looking at some potential. I like this little area right here where here's some wicks. Come on up to the next one to get the next wick. And so right there is where I would put the first stop level will be right up here at the top of this. Stop zone there. Now we're going to see if it comes in. We've been looking to perhaps enter this thing short. We have a nice spread on the Swiss US here. And we have a nice spread here. And we have, so if this thing breaks the wedge with this strength, everything pointing down, we have 3 red on the whole moving average. Just looking at the price action on this. if this area breaks, the next area is going to be all the way up here. If I
Like
go
I
there,
said,
it didn't close inside the wedge, so we still want to maintain that it's not a valid trade yet. Go ahead, go ahead, Matt.
yeah, like I said earlier, we're working to get those indicators available for everyone. Right now, they're proprietary and locked. The RCS is the one that you can't really find. You'll see it on TradingView, but it's locked. You need special permissions to be able to use it. So, but we're working on that. I should find out more information in the next week or so, or
Hopefully, in a few days, we should find out some information.
yeah, I'll talk to you more about that later on, Al.
Okay.
Had a really good conversation with Sal yesterday, so.
Oh, good. Okay, we can talk after this session here. Okay, it's coming back into the zone. Nice candle down. We had nice little break, basing coming into the zone.
Ruben making some pips, man. Look at this. 6 pips.
Everything is still strong to the Swiss, to break out on the Swiss.
You didn't stay in that trade too long, hey, Ruben? Because it came back against you pretty hard. It's already coming back to retest the wedge, so we could potentially get another opportunity to enter on the downside on UCAD.
Okay, here's our first 1 minute candle closed. Here's our second 1 minute candle. As soon as this one closes and we get a break to the blue candle, I'll be in this trade. Everything's strong. Not much of a wick on that. I'm going to take the entry. And we're looking for our 7 pips. So we're going to take profit of 7, stop of 7, modify it. There's our 7 pip target.
So just a little nugget about certain things going on right now. Just be aware that you probably want to be out of the market by 12 o'clock today because things get really flat on a Friday afternoon. just for people who haven't really traded that much. Friday after 12, 1, there's not a whole lot of volume. Everyone's trying to liquidate their positions and get out of the market because they don't want to be charged swap fees and stuff. So look at that Swiss move, Al.
Yeah, it's getting there. Moving out of the socket there. Seems to be stalling a little bit. Right now, if it goes against me, I'll probably be out of in this area right up in here. Dollar is starting to gain a little bit of its strength back. The Swiss is still showing a fair amount of strength. It's only got a 5 on it, so I'd like to see that be more like a 6 or a 7, but we do have a nice spread because the dollar seems to be so weak right now. The dollar had a big loss this week as far as its strength goes. So on a Friday, I would expect it starting to maybe regain some of it back again. That's why I'm going to be real careful with this one.
Yeah, significant. Very, very significant. If you guys were watching Euro USD and how it's reacted to all this, it's just ridiculous.
There's a very strong level at 116.25 on the Euro USD, and it couldn't quite reach that, and that's starting to retrace back. So that's one reason why this is starting to show a little bit signs of weakness.
What time we go until today? I keep on
9:30.
forgetting. Oh, 9:30. Okay, yeah, we're good.
Yeah. I'm not sure who gets the room after this, but and I'm going to close this one out because I don't like what's going on here. So I'm going to X out of this, close this position. Now this could just be a pullback. Everything's still sort of telling me it's a pullback, but based on what I'm seeing with the Euro US, I'm not liking Plus, this is all the way down near a bottom.
Yeah. If you don't feel good about what's going on, you know what? It's better to get out of the trade and swing the bat at the next opportunity.
Yeah, or just wait for another re-entry.
Yeah, that can always happen. If it comes up and does something nice, then there's no reason not to enter it again. We'll see what happens. Got a pretty good crew this morning. Not too bad for a Friday.
Yeah. So it came back into the wedge. These moving averages are starting to flip over, and I would be surprised to see it test this area up in here. A little bit of a basing drop, a little base here to a drop, and now it's retesting this area. How's our CAD doing here? Let's see. CAD pulled all the way back up into this entry zone.
Yep, right back right at the wedge.
And now I'm back on. Yep, I'm back on the Swiss chart. I just flipped them back. I just want to check it. Now, this was a nice little pullback. It went back into the wedge. Did protect the zone. Still is holding, but you still have some dollar strength here. I would want to see this thing flip with the Swiss on top before I take it short again. And right now, the fact it broke the wedge, it never got more than, let's see what's like. I got almost about 4.5 pips if you were right at the wedge, and that was even if you didn't get in until the break. You only got a couple. You barely broke your spread. Any other questions while we're waiting here? Let's see. Any reason why you didn't put the 8-point 5-minute candle back? It's not. It's not the lower. Not that lower. You're talking about the Swiss, Andrew?
I don't even see that question. He must have sent it right to you, no?
Well, it was in the question answer, but he said it doesn't apply anymore, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, okay, okay.
I didn't quite understand the question.
Look at that move back into that wedge.
Yeah, this thing's starting to. Yeah, I'm not liking the way this thing's going. I do like the Euro US is starting to show some signs of weakness, which means the dollar is starting to get a little bit stronger again, or stronger than what it was.
Well, it doesn't take much to make it stronger than what it was.
No, it got
It
hammered pretty,
died this week.
it got hammered pretty good this week. And this way, I think what's happening here is everything's starting to reflect that the dollar is starting to get stronger again. I would not be too big of a hurry to take this thing short again. A lot of times you get these pre-market moves before the 9:30 move. It'll start taking this. They know it's going to be going up, so they take their positions, drive the market down just before they open. And then when it opens, it comes up and just takes off for the rest of the day. So we were able to catch this little move down here, but be prepared to see it break the top of, even get another wedge alert and see maybe it might even break the top of it. If I look at this on the 15-minute chart, you see how it's still moving up. This was the break, but we still have a little bit more to the, if you, let me take this one off. But we take a trend line from here to here, and we clone it. This is a channel that is starting to maintain this channel. And I would not be surprised to see it come up here, bounce, and come back down again. And that would be the continuation of this little spur.
Euro USD is on its way down, exactly like you said, and it's on its way down really hard. It's gone. What do we got here? So we'll see what happens.
You know, the dollar is now starting to show some little bit of strength here. How's our Swiss trade doing here? See, that thing's pretty much everything else is pretty much out. So I say this trade is over. At least to the downside anyway. But I wouldn't want to take along with this these moving averages up above here. You only have, if it breaks this yellow 13 moving average on the 5-minute, it only has about 5 pips before it's going to run into the 62. This one's already starting to consolidate. And let's see, any other questions that we have while we have a little bit of a quiet time here? And we have about 12 more minutes before the end of our session here. Hopefully some of you made some money this morning.
Yeah.
This was out in the Swiss 830 ascending. Let me redraw that again, just see if there's something else I may be missing. There's the 830 ascending. So let's look at our 15-minute chart. We'll draw this one again, see if there's anything that can shed some light on the subject. One thing I'm trying to see is where over in the, you can see that if you look at this on a higher time frame, you can see that this thing's coming down really hard. So there's a lot of downward pressure. But if you look over here, you're not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything for, well, right here, this is on a daily chart. This is all the way back at in February where we had this candle. So right in this area, we have this nice big wick here. So we had a downward target at all. I'd be looking at this area right here. And this area right in here, which is right where it's at right now. So let's go back to our 15-minute chart. So it's right at the top of this. So if this thing does break, it's probably, there's a lot of buyers and sellers duking it out down here on a higher time frame, a daily time frame. That was a pretty big wick. In fact, the wick of that daily chart way back in February was 60 pips. So there's a lot of room to the downside for this thing, if it can break.
Yeah, that could be a pretty big move then.
It could be a big move, but it also could probably have a lot of battles going on in between down there.
That's
having said that, we have pretty much a flat bottom right here. So I would have to go with, even though they say it's ascending, I have to go with this type of information to break to the downside. But we need a little bit more. I need a little bit more confirmation. I'd probably take it down to about like that. And
I don't know, even the B has to be adjusted too.
Yeah, take it like it was ascending, so there's a slight ascending there, just the B, D. I would have to be looking at the fact this rejected down here on the 15-minute. Well, I don't know. This is what makes it, it's already down near the bottom. That's about as best I can get on that, I think. Referencing this down move. There's nothing else that's in any near picture to stop it from going down.
No, and
if it's going to want to.
And we can't start moving your C to that and make it connect the bottom of that. You know, that's after the alert. And now we're looking at a situation that we don't want to be in so much. Yeah, that could be an interesting thing, Mariska. So Al, if you're up for it, I could just show you the
go ahead
pitchfork on USD CAD. How about that?
Yeah, go ahead and show the pitchfork. Go ahead and take the screen. Make sure your charts, so your candles are wide enough so we can see it. I couldn't even see it the last time. That's so I'm going to stop sharing, and you should have.
Let's blow this up.
I might have to give you sharing. See, can you
let's
share?
Find out. No, I can't.
Okay, so share. I get it. That's you. Oh, let's see. How do I get this to happen?
Here, I'll switch it up a little bit.
Let me see if I can.
We'll do a little bit of analysis on multiple time frames, and then I'll show you why I looked at it the way that I did.
Can you share your screen? Are you able to share your screen?
Nope.
All right, how do I do this? Invite others, join. All right, I used to be able to do it. Now what happened here? I'm going to stop that sharing.
Yeah, maybe you have to make me a host as well. And just not a panelist.
Let me try that. Let me just try that I'll make you a host. And now try sharing your screen.
Let's try that. There we are. Cool.
Did you get it?
Yeah. You guys should be able to see my screen now.
All right.
Okay. So very interesting thing coming up. So this is a 30-minute chart. And this is usually as high as I'll go when I'm trading wedges. So USD CAD, I just wanted to go back and see what it's done in the last week or little while, right? So it's gone down, well, in the last 2 days, 250 pips. That's a pretty significant move for USD CAD. Here's my pitchfork. This is what I did. I'll try to explain a little bit. So I put, this is the swing high, this is the swing low, and then I wanted to get this one, and I'm going to show you, it may look a little messy right now. So what I did is I used the back of the fork, and I shoved it up and down, but I did it on the lower time frame. So right now it doesn't look really clean. But before I did all that, what I did is I drew my wedge. So I drew the wedge, I adjusted it on the 1 minute chart, and then I went and I did my my pitchfork. So what's really important about this one is it's the bottom of the run. So it means it's probably gonna go up. You know, your bottom, here's your low of the entire run, and then you can put your pitchfork here. This pitchfork is probably gonna be good for the entirety of next week. Price likes to move in kind of channels. You got a channel. I'll show you a little bit of a channel. Like, and I'll delete this one because this is going to make it really messy. But
here's a question for you, Matt. This is my question to you: is the lines inside your fork, are they basically Fibonacci values on a slant?
Not so much. So I do have different forks that I use. So let me blow this up on the 1 minute, since you kind of see where the structure is and where I put my fork. And then I'll show you why I put another fork here. And I will hide this one. Let's make it a different color just for a second, just so we can not let it play with our eyes too much. Let's go. No, that's way too hard. Let's see. Let's do that color. All right, forget that for now. So there's a couple settings that you can do those lines. So your basic pitchfork is going to be 1 and 5. 1 and 0.5. And you're going to have a median line. So this is 1, this is your median, and this is 0.5. So that's 50% of here to there and 50% of here to there. Now, if you want to add a little bit more accuracy and you wanted to get, because pitchforks are trend lines on steroids. When you go from a swing high to a swing low, you're actually, and you adjust it a little bit, you can get some really, really powerful hits. And I'll show you exactly what. Okay, so we got 2 minutes, so I'll accelerate this a little bit. And This is just a preamble. This is really, really oversimplifying it. So here, this is a downward fork, okay? This is the upward one that I did on the 30-minute time frame. You see how it's intersecting with, that's the median. This is an important line. The solid lines are really important. So I got a tag up here. That's a really good trade. And it coincides with the upper trend line of our wedge. So you see where our target was? I didn't highlight it, but that was our target. When we broke out, that's why I said the 34.11 is because this median line that has been respected multiple times, that's where it was. So you got respect, 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 respect. It broke it, it tagged it, it took off. And these other lines here, they're holding price as well. So let's forget about the other indicators. You don't need those right now. Let's make it a little bit bigger. So, and then check this out. We also have a wedge inside of a wedge. So, just a sec here. Like Al, sometimes I will accept a little bit of a breach. This is on a 1 minute as well, so I don't particularly like that too much, but
We're going to wrap this up here pretty quick, but
all right, yeah, let's wrap it
but,
up. But
but anyway, this is this is a really important tool to learn to use. We'll try and get into this a little bit more as we go along, as you folks are in here and you start seeing. We'll keep on adding little new ways of to be able to determine points of interest, and we call them energy points, points where prices likely to bounce or to break out of, and it all helps. It's just another tool in your toolbox to learn how to trade manually. And having said that, we're glad everybody came. We'll see you again on Monday morning at 8 o'clock. Have a great week, and hope everybody made some money this week.
all right,
Have,
thank you so much, everyone. We really appreciate you.
have a good weekend.
Catch you around. Bye, guys.